Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick and welcome to another episode of Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. This episode is about comparison. A flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just simply blooms. Zen Shin. Before the episode, a quick date for your diary. Wednesday the 9th of October is the next Creative Confidence Masterclass. Recognize yourself as a spiritual being and confidently integrate creativity into all aspects of your life. And if you haven't already, do join the mailing list for this podcast. You'll receive emails with additional teaching points and resources for you to explore deeper on your own personal creativity and spiritual journey, and also any updates on exclusives and new things coming. All ready for the last quarter of 2024. From Lao Tzu, when you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. Potentially the biggest cause of stress and despondency and lack of confidence within us comes from comparison. Well, why do we compare? Well, it gives us a relative reading of one thing against another. For example, we know that something is hot because the other is cold. We know that something is heavy because the other is light. We know that something is tall because the other is shorter. And therefore, we continue to use this comparing of things to measure where we are in relation to another. But let's first consider the fact that most people are not sharing the truth of who they are. They will always present a perfect version of themselves, the mask. And we're comparing ourselves with our highly regulated highlight reel, especially if we're looking on social media for examples. So we're comparing ourselves to a false projection of who that person is, and there are no winners in that. We're in a period of great revealing, and all the lies and the falsities are being exposed. The truth of who people are in the world is the only thing that can ever really survive. Right now, anything that's built on a lie is crumbling, and the choice for us to make is whether we want to continue to align ourselves with lies, to allow ourselves to feel less than by comparing ourselves to these lies. Is it any wonder that there's always been this sense of never quite making it, never quite measuring up, because we're measuring to something that does not and has not ever existed? If you want to compare yourself to something, if you want to compete against something, you should be in competition with the version of yourself that you want to be, and comparing and contrasting yourself of who you were before, and then also seeing how far away you are from the vision that you have for yourself. That will give you some idea of how much further you have to go, how much work there is to do, and that should fill you with excitement as you inch forward, even if the goal feels like a million miles away. Seeing the futility in comparison comes after finding a home and security within yourself and deciding that you are the starting point, you are the finish point, and you are the journey itself, and realizing that there is no external entity that has any kind of influence over you, and nor should it. We all experience life differently. We've all been exposed to different traumas and experiences that will propel us forward or hold us back at different rates. So then to expect to be hitting these external markers all at the same time as everyone else is a losing game. To stop comparing is to decide that you are running your own race and stepping away from the mass who are rushing in one direction to this prize that nobody ever wins. So step away, get to know who you really are when you're not playing the game. Ask yourself, what do you really want? Where do you want to go? How do you think you can get there? And also realizing that the method that everyone takes is just not going to work for you, and neither can it or should it. This then frees you up to a possibility of what could be. When you make the choice to step away from the mass rush into the abyss of never going to be enough and always trying to measure up to the other person, you can then step into your own lane. For a while, you won't know what you're doing or where you're going, and as they say, it's the road less travelled, but it's your road. embrace the solitude that you find, embrace the stillness, embrace the peace, embrace the limbo, and stay in that discomfort of not knowing what to do. And look at the freedom now that you have to set your own timetable and realizing that you're not behind. Figure out what it is that you need and take as long as you need to do that. In that limbo and in that solitude, examine the chatter of your own anxious mind trying to fill you with fear. See that the fear is untrue, that there is peace, and in this peace over time you will hear your voice directing yourself. And start from there, building by putting one foot in front of the other and placing one stone onto the next, understanding what you stand for and what you want to try. And then, should any other voices come with their opinions and thoughts, you'll listen, you'll contemplate, and then respectfully choose which opinions matter and don't matter. And don't be surprised if you find that so many of them just don't. And if and when you do choose to take on the opinion of others, it's because you will recognize and appreciate them coming from another person and other people who too are also taking their own path. You'll recognize the work that you have done for yourself and every step and move forward that you've made to honor yourself. And you don't want to undo that by going the way of somebody else. You will start to see and feel your own power. You will clearly know your true path. And you will also appreciate that the kingdom of God is within you, not outside of you. And therefore there is no need to compare yourself to anyone else. To end, a quote: "Every minute you spend wishing you had someone else's life is a minute spent wasting yours." And from Judy Garland: "Always be a first-rate version of yourself and not a second-rate version of somebody else." Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. Please share this message with somebody else you feel will benefit from it. And also, please leave a review if you're enjoying it and telling me what hits for you. You can find out more about me on my website. It's carolmaywhittick.com, carolmaywhittick.com. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn, Carol May Whittick, and Facebook of the same name, and on Instagram as Casmic, Cazmick. Until the next episode, be true, be you. Take care. Bye-bye.